What is up, fellow procrastinators? Happy New Year. Just before Christmas, I was involved in a documentary for sort of my final semester at university. Once again, took out the Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera, and also too, I rented out a few specialty lenses from my university's rental store. But just to give you a TLDR version of this entire video, my main overall takeaway is I love this lens. I love how bokeh-licious it looks. The autofocus works great, and the only downside is it gets soft at 200mm. So yeah, that's the overall takeaway. I'm not sure which iteration this is of the 70-200, so that's why I'm getting sort of conflicting sort of numbers here in terms of its weight. So yes, as the name pretty much straight on says, it goes from a focal length of 70-200. It gives you extreme telephoto landscape sort of shots. You can really dial into a subject that is very far away, and given how long the focal length is, you get incredibly shallow depth of field, which in addition to the f2.8 aperture, it gives you very creamy bokeh. Also too, it gives you a very compressed image, both of which makes for, well, a just pleasing overall image. Yeah, by the way, if you're just interested in this sort of, and you're entranced by the imageries that you're seeing, these are called highlining, where people just walk on slack lines and stuff that's suspended over a tall elevated position over bodies of water in urban areas or in cliffs. Kind of sort of tightrope walking, but it's they're not holding that pole thing as they're walking across. Apparently it's perfectly legal, and yeah, these paramedics and police and paramedics actually came towards the end of the shoot because yeah, hahaha. Ooh, that's a story for another time actually. So yeah, what's there to say about this lens other apart from how much I love it? So with the tripod mount, it's actually a bit confusing as to how to clip it on properly. You sort of have to so there's this loosening knob right here. You loosen that, and now you can just rotate it around as such. There are these bolts here along the base of the lens that you sort of have to keep moving the tripod collar around until these snap into the bolts that you see here, and now you can rotate it back down until these black lines line up like so, and then you tighten it. Also too, you should check in your camera whether the image is straight or not. Straight? Is that a word? Make sure the spirit level is even. And yes, you could go sort of handheld like that, but for our shoot, for our a documentary shoot, it was all video. So having a tripod, a sturdier tripod at that, not just a pistol grip tripod, having a tripod was essential. Over here, you've got a lot more dials than I'm used to. You've got this, which goes from 1.2 meter to infinity, or 2.5 meter to infinity focus. Not sure what the point of that is. I'll need to do more research on that. There's the AF and MF. Then there's the stabilizer, which personally I would just keep on always and never turn off. But you can turn it off if you want to, the options there. And stabilizer mode 1 and 2. I believe one of them is to prioritize panning left and right, and then the other is just for overall in all directions, up and down, left and right. Over at the front, you have a 77mm filter thread, unlike the 82mm thread of the 24-70. So even though this is part of the trinity of lenses, for some reason the filter thread here is a bit smaller. Thankfully, I actually did have just had a step-up ring that goes from 77 to 82mm. I have a variable ND filter that is 82mm. So when our camera operators were having to switch between the two lenses with the different filter thread sizes, they could just use that step-up ring and then just move the ND filter from the 24-70 over onto this lens, which has the smaller filter thread. Yeah, I mean, I see now why, people use matte boxes and hard stops of NDs in front, rather than just figuring out, oh, I need a step-up ring for this and step-up ring for that, and this size circular ND filter. On one hand, variable circular ND filters are convenient, but on the other hand, you sort of have to consider all those factors. Of course, there's the superior optics right here that you can see. Very nice coating and all that. Very nice indeed. This thing It's heavy, it's built like a tank. On top of that, the back of it has the weather sealing gasket. Of course, with the weather sealing, it only works if the body is also like weather sealed or weather resistant. So keep that in mind. But it is, yeah, nice to have that sort of rubber ring around the mount. Now, amazingly, I actually put the follow focus onto like the rails, and it was able to push it around just fine without me having to add on those like gear teeth around. So that was very, very convenient actually. Now, speaking of the 15mm rail rods, it is imperative that you put on the lens support, otherwise you'll be breaking the mount. You hear that? That is quite the loose mount, wouldn't you say? Now, autofocus on this lens, if you pair it with like a Canon body, like the latest ones with whatever the latest sort of dual pixel AF they have, it works flawlessly pretty much. Well, almost. Now, I like to err on the side of precaution actually by stepping down the f-stops, just so that the lens is performing like optically better. When the aperture is opened wide like this, it's the image is softer, and also too, it's just easier to rack focus. Just testing out the autofocus here, very responsive. Of course too, on a Canon cameras you can set the speed at which, you know, the responsiveness of the autofocus, but I've set it to maximum. What I will do now is zoom in to 200. That took a while, but hey, it worked. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I've tested it before. I turned the cameras on like that, the main camera on, and it seems to have like a gray box around my face. It's probably too close now, but like hopefully it maintains focus with the face tracking technology on the Canon 80D. This is face tracking part 2, but with single AF. I'm gonna stay sort of like dead center-ish. Hopefully that has maintained focus. So were I to just go away and then enter the frame, like so. Can't really see because the camera's so far away. Am I in the center? Now it should be. Not. And now it should be again. And yeah, we'll see how that went. So what I'm gonna do now to really up the ante is to just like zoom in all the way to 200. Okay, just gonna step back, step back, step back. So, oh wow, okay. It acquired focus, yeah. Oh yes, right. I completely forgot to talk about the lens hood that comes with the 70-200. You know, it's very deep, very nice. There's some sort of like a fabric-y material inside, I guess, to sort of not attract dust. I don't know. It's very nice material is all I'm saying. There's a button there that you click down onto in order to release the lens hood. Yeah. Just a thing I thought to mention. Here's where I have to lay on some drawbacks, some minor downsides with this. At 200mm, the image gets really soft. It's not just the whole like 4K versus 1080p thing. I mean, even at 4K, if I'm in focus, it looks like I'm out of focus. For all I know, I'm out of focus, but even if I'm in focus, I bet it looks very blurry anyway. So much so that it looks like I'm out of focus. I don't know. And the image is so soft that the focus peaking just doesn't really work anymore. It fails to just pick up the contrasty hard edges. I don't see anything. So yeah, that's one of the gripes I have with this. I guess I can also say I have gripes with the weight of the lens. And again, this is supposed to be a telephoto lens, so that comes with the territory. So yes, that concludes me gushing over what I love about this lens and the minor gripes I have with this lens. I love it. I love the image that I can get out of it. It can get a bit soft when zoomed in all the way to 200mm, as I said. I think that's a common trait of like zoom lenses. Constant aperture of f2.8, which is very nice. Don't forget to put like an ND filter in front of it, which, you know, as I said, you might need to start looking at like ND step-up rings as well, which, you know, gets a bit of a hassle. Heavy, but hey, it's a telephoto lens, you know what you expect. The stabilization, very good. And the autofocus, also very good. This thing is built like a tank. It is weatherproof pretty much with a weather sealing gasket. Yeah, I love it. I love it a lot. So anyways, that's that. Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe out there. There's every once in a while, there's like a new clusters of the virus that just pops up. Look after your mental health as well. Look for things to do to just keep your life, your day-to-day life more interesting and less menial. Yeah, try to always do something new. Like, for example, you know, playing around with new lenses. I like to think of like the 3 lenses I rented as like temporary Christmas gifts, really. Any chance I can get at playing around with L series lenses or like the holy trinity of lenses, I will take it. Because I won't know what lenses I truly will need or want in sort of more professional work unless I just rent them out and play with them extensively. Thanks for watching. Keep on procrastinating. See ya.